A few more people are coming. Todd brought 25 copies of which coves.
Yeah, these are the coves that we have projected to dredge.
Projected.
These are projected coves. We're going to try to get to all of them. These are the coves that we had to get permits for. So the last 5 years, the lake dredging has been done illegally here in Hot Springs Village. They haven't had the right permits to dredge lakes. So I talked to ADEQ, Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality, and that's who we have to get our permits from. Before, they were spending $200 per lake to dredge. Well, that was wrong. It's $200 per cove you have to pay.
Hold on, we got still people coming.
So we had to. Now that you can enter a cove in as something that's a continuous work, like this here around the pavilion, where will be a continuous dredge. We can pay for that as one cove, but each individual cove has to have a permit for that cove. So instead of paying $200 with 11 coves, it costs $2,200 just for the permit. But we're doing it legally this year and don't have to worry about any kind of fines from ADEQ. Just to get that. And in case you didn't know, we have lowered the lake. So, that's another bit of information Lorri forgot to tell you.
Hold on. We got people still coming in.
How much more is going to go down?
We have questions. We're gonna ask that question.
How much is going to go down?
We're going to go down. We were at 6.1 as of 2 days ago, and we're trying to drop it to 8 feet.
Good. When it gets to 8 feet, how long is it going to be maintained at 8 feet?
We're going to maintain it there. It's not going to go any farther.
No,
we're going to work.
How long is that going to be? Because I got work to do, and I want to know if I got time to do the work I got to do.
Yeah, we're going to close the valve at the latest February 28th, but it's going to be maintained at 8 feet till at least the middle of January.
That's why I need to know.
So, greetings to everybody. Thank you for coming. And if you have questions, it'd be great if you'd write them down. If not, I guess you're just gonna shout them out. I'm Lorri Street, and I'm here to introduce Todd Noles, and he has an abundance of titles, but I do know he's also superintendent of the lakes. Do we have any lake committee members here tonight? No? How many are on the committee?
11.
Oh, okay. Some of them are shoreliners, are Cortez Lake Shoreliners. I know that.
9 or 11. I think there's 11.
So, a couple of other housekeeping things. We have a reporter here tonight, both filming and recording. And so all of this information will be on a website that we'll post, just like we have. We'll put that on the Shoreliners email, so that you can go to it and read all the details. You won't have to take notes tonight if you don't want to. I think that's all. Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can explain what this is, and you guys will be asking the questions in a minute. I have them, and I'll read them to him, and he can answer them. Thank you.
So what we have here is, as I explained earlier, that we had to get a permit for each cove. So these are each of the coves we got permits for. These are the projected coves to dredge. Now some of these may have 2 or 3 coves mixed in the white spot that you'll see. This is a map of Lake Cortez, and each cove that's on it is projected to be dredged either hydraulically or mechanically this year. And here on the front page it tells you about when the refilling of the lake will be. They'll tell you the volume, the cubic volume of yards you have in that, whatever cove's numbered, and if it will be done mechanically or hydraulically. So if you're wondering if your cove will get done this year, you can look at this map and it'll let you know if your cove's on it. We're going to start mechanically, hopefully. Depends on how much infall we get over the storm tonight, but we're going to start hopefully dredging. We had a little bit of, like I said, about the permit. Found out about that, so I had it taken, we got it filled out, I had it hand delivered to Little Rock this morning for approval. So hopefully we'll have it back Monday or Tuesday. We do, I'm hoping to start dredging by the end of next week. and we'll start right here and we'll work clockwise around the lake mechanically. What we can't get mechanically, and that's where we can't get our skid steers in safely, we will come back. Don't think we forgot about you and we're just running off and leaving you. We're going to come back with our amphibious excavator that I have contracted out, the contractor out of Jacksonville. We'll come back and we'll reach those either by the water or we can go through the mud and get to them where we can't go through with the skid steer. But we're going to try to get to all of the coves. I know I spoke to a lady this morning at 24 Ruby Circle that broke her leg in 2 places. She was going to be here, and she was asking me about her cove and said it hadn't been done in 25 years, and was scheduled to be done this year. So we're going to try to get her stuff here. So a bunch of these coves that hadn't been done, we're going to try to get done.
Okay. First question, where will the POA put the silt once mechanical dredging has begun?
Well, when we start here, we're going to pile the silt. We'll build a road right over here to where we can come out of the lake up onto this green pasture-like land back here. And we're going to build it up here, and I'm going to have a backhoe and dump trucks running the whole time. When the skid steers pile it up, we're going to load it up. We're going to take it to we're going to load it up in the dump trucks and haul it out. We're going to first haul all the material to what I call the gravel pit. It's where my office is located off Terlingua. We're going to leave it there for a little while as a dewatering stage to allow a bunch of the water to run out of it. Then we're going to move it from there, and we're going to take it down by the Balboa Gate on Highway 5. We have to build a big right-of-way there. We need a bunch of fill dirt. And instead of POA buying fill dirt, we're going to use what we get out of the lakes because it's good fill dirt. It's in here, so we're going to let it dry out at the pit for a little while. Then we're going to have another machine at the pit loaded up in the dump truck and taking it down and dumping it. And we'll have a dozer spreading it at the building our right-of-way out there so we can take it out of the lake and put it to good use doing something else when it's done.
This just came to mind. Will any of the Cortez Shoreliners be able to come and get some of that great dirt down once it's out there? It makes for good gardening.
We will have a pile. As a matter of fact, I'm still working on removing a bunch of the silt bags off the soda. There was from the hydraulic dredging. There was so many silt bags and there's so much material in them. And we're going to have a pile of compost and some of the silt that's left over from the silt bags and stuff mixed up with it. It's great topsoil. And we will have a big pile of that at Terlingua that will be open to the public. Anybody that wants to come and get it. If you're going to start working on gardens this spring, whatever you need some topsoil, any property owner is welcome to come get it and get it as much as they like.
Do we have first dibs?
You got first dibs however many you want.
Next question, will the POA trim back fish structures, sunken trees, that are so high as to pose navigation hazards to the boats?
Well, if we've got something that's navigational hazards, yeah, we need to know about it so we can get something done. But I haven't heard anything about any fish habitat, getting boats or something like that. But if there's anything out there, let me know where it's at, and we'll definitely investigate it. If it's a hazard to a boat, then yeah, we'll get something done about it.
So now that you know the cove names,
Now that you know the names of the coves, if you have some of those in your cove, you can email Todd Noles directly to let him know. And maybe the anglers will come out and help do that. Who knows? But that's a good question.
okay, next question.
Blue Heron Cove, 22. We live at the end of the cove, spent money moving dock, and want to know that it will be dredged. Thank you.
Well, I don't know. Where's that address at? I'm not familiar with the names of these coves, so I just have to look at the address and get on.
Look it up because I think on his list it's cove 18. Blue Heron Cove is 22. On this list, that's not his list.
There's not a,
So this is
yeah,
all-
okay.
all the
Here's between 28 and 44 Ruby Circle is 18.
Yeah, we're looking for, I don't see that one.
Hold on a minute.
That's what I
Okay, so I'm going to try to clarify this. Blue Heron Cove, is that the first cove beyond where the old beach, on the front side of where the old beach used to be?
That's our
Yes.
table, it's where I live.
Right, okay. Do you see that on here? Have you guys, is anybody, you gotta pass this
Yeah,
out.
can
Maybe
we
you wanna
pass,
pass them
can you
out.
pass those out?
Pass him out. Or somebody, get somebody to
Can
pass.
somebody pass these out, please?
I will.
There's only 25, so you'll have to share.
Whoever wants to. This is the coves, this is the coves that were deemed, that need to be dredged after our survey was done. And our survey was our probing survey. So the coves that were deemed that need to be dredged were the ones that was more so.
Okay, so the problem I see is on this, it doesn't name the coves on his list. It names streets. So that's very confusing for us. We have to match streets to coves on.
Match the street.
Well, you guys have the code names. You got
80, you don't accept the codes. They have
okay.
So Warren, on his map, it's site 15.
Site 15 on
That's Blue Heron Cove.
Okay,
between.
all right.
So Blue Heron Cove is number 15 on the site, between 30 Arjona Way and 9 Sabiota Way. Between 30.
There is probably right there.
Let's finish the question.
Well,
that's,
that was the old one that was done. That's been changed 20 times. Among the Lakes Management Department, that has been changed about 15 times.
Well, we didn't know that. That code name that I gave you is what Dr. George Maxey created for us several years ago.
Will you please publish an official something or other for us?
That's what this is. The map. Yeah, the dredge map.
But it does not give you the code names, which is, I think, a problem.
What's the next question?
hey, you guys, we're gonna continue.
We're going to continue, so please have a seat. It is a little confusing now that we know they're not using code names, but it'd be good to know. All right, we'll have to figure that out.
The map, the lake map you have is pretty easy to understand. It's got the road names on it. Look at the road names and you can see the code. You know, I mean, just because it doesn't have Bluefish Cove on it don't mean that we're not dredging it and it's not on that map. Just look at the street names and you'll find out the codes are going to be dredged.
All right.
I hope I answered the question.
Next question.
Next question. We're asking questions. Can you guys please keep it down? Thank you. That was my teacher voice. What's being done about the beavers on the lake and in the coves? And how many coves is this a problem?
3 coves on Cortez, 2 on Balboa, 1 on Pineda, and they're currently looked at to being eliminated.
Okay, say that again for Cortez.
3 coves on Cortez, 2 coves on Lake Balboa, and 1 cove on Pineda. Currently, we have beaver problems. I have a contract with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission that's working as we speak right now of getting those eliminated. So,
Okay, next question. What is the value of allowing dredging by our dock? How much dredging inches near the pavilion?
now do what?
Okay, so first question is, what is the value of allowing dredging by our dock? Who wrote that? Maybe, huh? Oh, okay.
I'm new.
Oh, you are new. Okay, and how much dredging inches near the pavilion?
They live right across the lake.
We're just wondering how much it's gonna go down from around here.
Well, we're gonna try to take it down. It's probably, here it's gonna probably go down 2 to 3 feet of material. Around by the boat dock, I mean, the fishing pier, the boat ramp, and this cove right over here. And then, you know, as far as your boat dock, you know, the main purpose of dredging is for you to get in and out with your boats. And, you know, in a bunch of places, I run into it on Balboa, to where, you know, people build their boat docks, they sell their house, or they buy this house as a lake lot, and the realtor is in a hurry to sell it, and they tell them anything they can to sell it. Well, it's got a rock bed under it that's been there, and if the lake, as of right now, Balboa's down about a foot, the lake drops about a foot, they can't get their boat in and out. And it's just natural material there, it's rock, you can't do anything about it, so. But yeah, it's just a good way to keep your depth, to be able to get your boat in and out of your slip.
I know for a fact, because I've kayaked into the Heron Cove, there is so much silt that comes down on, it's POA property. Sometimes it looks like white water, and I'm not exaggerating. And that just comes down in impacted floods, a couple of the homes' backyards. And that's where a lot of the silt and mud and dirt comes from.
And that's another thing. That's another thing for the people that live on here on Lake Cortez. We're asking you, the POA, is to please help us to identify our worst areas of erosion. Because we're wanting to create a structure upstream that's going to prevent us from having to dredge these lakes every 7 years. We can keep material from going into the lake, then that can eliminate us from having to do it all the time. So that's never been done before, and that's something that we need your help with. If you can identify some of these areas where you see, like after tonight, a big rain, and you see all this material running into the lake, let me know. And we'll come out and we'll evaluate it, and we can get some big rock structures up to silt that material that's going into the lake and keep it cleaned out to where that we won't have to come back and dredge these lakes so much, you know, so close together.
Okay, I have a hydrothermal heating and cooling system. You can now see about 1/3 of the pipes. Anything special I should do to avoid damage?
Try to get something added on to it, I guess. I mean,
What does that mean?
try to get it extended on out in deeper water, because the water drops a little bit more. If you're going to be heating with it, you're not going to be able to heat with it. If it
Is
comes out of the water.
Lily here? Oh, she must be, she wrote it. Okay, so you're hearing that. Do you have another question about that?
I can't move the pipes.
Yeah,
They start at the level of my house, and then they go down, down, down.
Yeah.
The main body of the pipes is in the deepest part of the
Okay.
cove.
Is it covered still with water?
Yes,
Okay, then you
but it's the
should be.
connecting pipes between the house.
Oh, the connecting pipe, yeah, you'll still probably be all right then, as long as your vents is all underwater at the end. I mean, your pipe going to it, that's just more or less your structural pipe, allowing it to get back to your house. So you should be all right there. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a geothermal technician, but
Are you in a
you know,
cove?
I would say that.
I'm on a point,
Okay, because
so,
she's probably worried about the machinery coming by in
well, I live on Ruby Circle, and Ruby Circle is listed in 3 places,
Okay.
17, 18, and 19.
We'll watch and we won't damage it. I mean, if we can see it, we're not gonna run over it.
maybe there needs to be orange or red flags or something put out before
We can keep
people come out with their machine.
Okay. Are you good with that? Okay,
Next questions.
3 of them.
Okay, first one, is clean out in the order of code number?
You can forget that one, he's already mentioned that.
Thank you. Can someone look at the exposed lake bottoms and do evaluation now that the bottoms can be seen? What's it- like-
No, we've got 150 feet of lake bottom, and he's not even gonna come in there. This map shows that he's not even gonna come in there.
Okay,
Did you hear what he said?
Well, I seen a picture that was sent to me a while ago before I come over on my way that, I can't remember the house. But, he had a pier or a dock out behind his house, and you could see the concrete at the bottom of his post where it had been poured. That's been there 30 years. And then you can see the stuff at the top. Well, that don't really need to be dredged if it's at the bottom of his
I've got
post.
a tree, it's not mine, it belongs to somebody from New Jersey that fell into our lake, and it's at least into our cove, it's at least 20 feet long. And
Yeah.
it's been there forever, it's waterlogged, and it's on the bottom. POA ought to be taking that stuff out.
We will. If you'll notify me, we'll get it out next week, if we can get to it. If anybody has a tree falls in the lake, if you'll notify me, I'll get it out within 2 days of the phone call.
It's an old tree.
It's fine. I can get anything.
The particular cove we're talking about now is the back side of where Cortez Beach used to be. It's a large, circular horseshoe cove, and it is definitely in need of dredging.
Yeah.
That's why I asked if maybe you could look at it visually,
Yeah,
rather
well, I mean,
than
we
poking
can-
a stick in it.
If we can look at it and see.
Okay, so you'll have to follow up with him on that, since you're hearing that.
If he'll give me his
Let me know
phone
that.
number, I'll call him every morning at 2 o'clock.
Well, you know how to reach me. I'll pass that on.
I won't
Okay.
answer Lori's calls because the last time I had a meeting here, she provided me with outstanding supper. Lori don't give me nothing but questions.
Oh, well. The question also was, can we hire the excavator to do some additional work?
You can.
If so, how much and how do we get on their agenda?
You will have to call me whenever he's here. He charges $225 an hour. He can remove 300 yards of material in an hour.
Good information.
So,
If you're not.
I'll tell you what I will do. I will post his number in the Village Digest,
Or send it to me.
or I can send it to Lori.
Send it to the
She can let each one of
Shoreliners.
you guys know
Yeah.
that, hey, while you're here, you know, can you get the material out from your stuff?
Okay.
It'll also be on the website that's going to have all the copious notes that we're taking tonight.
Okay,
Next question, what happens if we have a rainy winter and work halts?
sorry.
What happens if we have a rainy winter and work halts? It won't. We're working in mud, we're gonna keep working in mud. So if it rains and rains, we're gonna be right there in the middle of it, getting it done. So, we'll continue on.
Y'all heard that? Okay, next question. Nick Daly had to come back and move docks that he had moved already, that the shoreliners paid for, a second time. I hope he's not gonna charge us, and if not, who's gonna pay for that?
He doesn't. He's come my house twice, same price. He's gonna come one more time now, he said. He's not gonna charge any more for one time.
Well, God bless him.
Oh, he's a neat guy. He's neat.
There's your answer.
I like that. All right, here we go. Oh,
Will the PO clean up any big floating styrofoam? Because we have several big pieces floating out there. And or dock floats that have, they're out there too, because I've run into them kayaking. Lots of them are stuck on the side, like in the trees that have fallen into the lake and so forth. Will the POA be picking that up?
If it's to where we can get to it mechanically, we will. If not, when we raise the lake back up, if it's in the lake, then, you know, we'll get it, pull it up here to the boat ramp, you know, and clean it up.
Do you need to tell me something, Sharon? Okay. But we already talked about this. Where will the silt go with the mechanical?
You're back to square one.
well, I think I got more.
Oh, dang.
Okay. This one I have a hard time reading. I live on the cove where Good Sam is. For the past 20 years, I've lived there. There hasn't been extremely little to no dredging in that area. What's the chances of...
Who
wrote this? Because I'm having a hard time reading it.
It's on the map, but that's
Is it on the map?
Yes, that's well.
Site 12.
Okay, so I can get rid of that.
Right here. Well, how far down do you go when it says behind Good Sam? Because I'm probably 300 to 350 yards north of Good Sam. The dredging that has been done there in the past was right behind Good Sam, which was totally inadequate. So when you talk about that cove, how far down are you going to go?
We're mainly gonna get the main part of that cove, where that's one of our biggest erosion areas right there, things like that.
There's tremendous silt that comes down there from underneath the road at Cortez and DeSoto. It fills up there with just nothing but brown water every time it rains. And that silt is deep.
Okay,
So you wanted to know where silt is coming from. That's one spot, it's a big one.
okay, yeah, let us know. I can't, if there's very much silt in there, I don't know why it wouldn't be on dredging.
It's a lot, like kayak back in there. There's
Because
a
I
lot
know
of silt.
Katie has done, pretty extreme search of the lake, probably the lake, so, I don't know, we'll look into that though, and see what she discovered.
That cove already has a weir on it.
It's got there's one cove behind Good Sam's that's got a gabion up front. And the gabion was put in about 12 years ago or 15. And the gabion's not working. It's washed the bank out around the side of it. And it's acting more or less now as a dam. It's not filtering the silt as it was supposed to do originally. I don't know if it was bad, they put it in wrong, the engineering of it. I don't know, but anyhow, it's washed the bank out around it. So the dirt now is filtering in that cove. So we're starting to get more erosion back in that. Matter of fact, Mr. Ken Unger and I was talking about that today, about coming in, revisiting that gabion. We meant to go in and tear that out and place some bigger boulders in there to act as a rock filter and a check dam on a bunch of that material that's coming through that biggest channel. It's about the size of this creek up here that's running into Cortez, and that's a lot of material that's coming in. And like I said, it washed out the side of the bank around the gabion and is now going around it. So the gabion's more or less acting as a dam instead of a filter.
Yeah. We have a gabion on your site 19. It's been filled for years and it's not doing anything.
So that's another. We've got them throughout the village, and I'm not sure where all of them's at. So get with me after this and let me know, or send Lorri an email, and let me know where some of these are. 'Cause I don't know, and we need to try to get them fixed.
I think that would be a good idea. You guys, most of you have my email now, right? Because I've sent it out to you. If you want to send me those particular points, that way I can keep a list of them and send them on into Todd, or any other questions, that would be a good thing, because then we would know what's going on. Also, I'll get you in just a second. You just said that Katie, who's part of your group, did they do the depth
They came out
today?
the road.
Okay. Do we have like a spreadsheet like what Max did a couple years ago that shows that? Did you see that?
I'm sure we've got one. I can send it to you. They done it when the lake was full, but I can send it to you. They're
I
fine.
think they did it with the lake full also the last time. A gentleman here was part of that, and so was Max. Dr.
They did, and they built they've got a spreadsheet of every cove on Cortez and the depths. So I can get that to you, I'm sure. Because they probed every cove out here.
That would be really important because we'd have a comparison.
What we've got here.
We would have a comparison from 2016 to now. So I think that is a real crucial
Well,
document.
we've got that, and I'll get it to Lorri, she can get it out to you.
Okay.
I'll have to get it from Katie, but we've got a spreadsheet built of every cove here on the lake, and what our findings was whenever we probed, and it's got all the equations on it, how much material's in it, how much needs to be removed, and all that.
Okay. So,
This is all the information that I think most shoreliners on every lake want to know are going to want to know. And my question is, first of all, I got to ask you what your question is.
How close to the seawalls are you gonna come?
3 feet.
Yeah, 3 feet.
3 feet within the seawalls, okay. Standard operating procedures, it seems like that we dredge all the time, we know it's gonna happen. So it'd be really good, and probably we wouldn't have to have meetings like this if we had that. And so you knew when you were gonna lower it, how much you're gonna lower it, and give us those silt readings and so forth. Because when people leave, like Brad Meredith, you probably don't have all that information from him, do you?
No, not from what he's done in the past.
Right. So, and you are going to retire at some point. So,
I hope it's a long time. How old do you think I am?
well, you've had a lot of jobs here. So, anyway, okay. I just think that would be and the Lakes Committee could do this, who's ever on the committee. So, Dr. Maxey, do you have any more questions since you were so important in providing us with a lot of this information? Come on up here and speak in the microphone, please. And you used to be the chair of the Lakes Committee?
I was the vice chair of the Lakes Committee for 6 years. And I'm trying to be delicate with what I say, and I'm often not, so excuse me. I'm the one who was involved in naming all the coves. So that list of cove names is something that we did
6 years ago,
more than 6
when I
years.
first came.
Yeah. And so that doesn't agree with anything he has. However, all the information that I ever did and created for this lake was left with the Lakes Committee, and apparently there's no transference of information. So that's one thing. I'm really glad you brought that up. That needs to be done. There's how many coves on your list?
11.
11. There's 26 coves on this
Well,
lake.
there's 11 dredge sites.
Yeah.
Now, some of those may be 3 or 4 coves linked together.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So that's coming up with a continuity of how we identify a specific site would really be good. That could be agreed upon and carried on forward into the future. The other thing, I do want to say this carefully. Our waters are very clean here. However, everybody who lives around this lake probably fertilizes their yard and probably puts insecticide on their yard. That washes into the lake. Hopefully most of you don't do that, but I'm sure most people do, from my experience. Beware, that's in the silt. And while the silt might be great for growing plants, I wouldn't grow edibles in it. Okay? Just as a cautionary procedure. So beware of that. Let's see, I'm kind of shooting from the hip here. If anybody wants copies of the original maps, I've emailed them out literally hundreds of times. But I'll send them out again if anybody wants them. And that way you can compare to Todd's list, and that way you can see whether they're talking about your cove or not. I'm on the largest cove on the lake, and guess what? It's not even listed for dredging. And there's at least 3 houses on that cove that the people can't get their boats in or out. So I'll be bringing that to you.
Yeah.
So,
That's your cove.
yeah.
Yeah.
So beware of the list. Check both lists. Look at it. Compare them back and forth. And try to figure out exactly where you are. And until we have an established system for identifying coves, you're going to have to work with all the information we've got out there. When I did the coves back many years ago, I also calculated the sediment load for every single cove in here. And I was just comparing calculations, and either I'm awfully heavy or they're a little light. So I think there's a lot more silt on this lake, and that should be removed than probably is listed on even on mine at this point, because mine was done so many years ago. Anything else?
Hey, Max,
Yeah,
give me the recipe for the vinegar weed killer.
I don't know if I can do that from the top of my head.
You can
Vinegar,
Google
salt,
it. You
Yeah.
can Google it.
There's a weed killer that's made with vinegar and soap,
Salt.
Yeah.
And you can
salt.
make it in your house, and it works
Yeah.
great.
Works great for controlling insects. So,
Yeah.
and sulfur, powdered sulfur, works good. It breaks down in the lake water. That's also something good for controlling insects on your property, and it won't hurt the waters. Okay,
And why do you know all this? Because you have your PhD in?
I'm an environmental scientist, so
Okay.
I do have an idea about some.
Are you gonna send it out?
Pardon?
Are you gonna send the recipe out?
Yeah, we can do that.
You can send it to me.
I have a question, please. I have occasionally, and especially in the fall, they come and spray the weeds. I don't have grass. I have gravel and stuff. And they claim that this is environmentally safe. It doesn't kill anything but the weeds, and it suffocates them. Is he telling me the truth? They all die, but I don't want to put anything in the lake. So I told him if he was using things like Roundup, just
No, we cannot use that.
I know, but something like that. He
You're
said,
probably not gonna like me for this answer. The best way to get rid of the weeds is get out there and pull them.
Oh, you can't pull 10,000 weeds.
I know, but I'm just saying.
That's a good point, though.
that's why.
Now that the lake is down, a lot of that can just be dredged out,
No,
right?
I'm talking about weeds in my on my backyard.
Oh, we're not gonna get to
Well,
those.
wait.
Yes.
I remember asking him 3 months ago when we were in this very place right here, if he was gonna get any of that water grass out. And he went.
Yeah, there's a lot of water grass in that particular
Well-
cove also.
That's one of our main deals that we're doing when we're dredging. Like right here, you see right here, the weeds that's on the bank.
Yeah.
We'll come up with a skid steer and back drag that stuff out.
Yeah. So we'll make sure he knows about your
One other
cove.
question, don't come in my cove and pull the grass, that's where the fish are.
Okay, so we'll identify the ones, yes. Hold on.
What is the stuff you spray on that water grass?
What is the stuff you spray
We
on?
spray on water grass
Uh-huh.
is aquatic glyphosate.
Is what?
What is it?
Aquatic glyphosate. Aquatic glyphosate.
Max, what is it?
It's aquatic Roundup.
Yeah. So you
That's what we
spray
spray.
Roundup in the lake?
Yes. We spray aquatic Roundup in the lake. It's a customized mixture of glyphosate made for water and aquatic
I paid you
applications.
$40 to do that, I want my money back.
That's what we pay, or we spray. Now, a bunch of the plants that we have to spray, we have to use copper sulfate or we have to use granular. That's $80 a bag. Sometimes they pay $40 for a shoreline spray. We have to put up 2 bags of it. That's cost POA $160 for a $40 spray. So, I mean, it all ends out.
I have one more question, please.
Okay.
I live on Beaza Way, and I live next door to a POA property where it rains, water that goes into the lake from up higher. I won't go into details, but there are people that blow their leaves into that area instead of getting rid of them. I have a vacuum guy that takes mine away, but this particular person blows them into that thing or into the lake itself. And after a big rain, which I haven't seen lately, but when I do, there's big globs of these leaves and stuff
Okay.
all down close to the lake.
I think you need to send him a private email
That's the biggest problem we have.
and identify that, your property number and the property number next door, because obviously that's probably who's blowing them in there.
Because
And
I'll
then
tell
you can
you-
deal with that.
I'm also a forestry superintendent. I have to go out and mark trees on common areas. And I literally 2 weeks ago, I got out of my truck, walked across the road to go mark a tree, and stepped off the road and buried up waist deep in leaves.
Where I am,
I'm talking about waist deep.
where
Now,
I am,
No, this was another part of the village.
Okay.
But that just goes to show you
Yeah,
how the people, you know, as long as there's no mile line outside.
that's what's happening in that
So,
big area there.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of our biggest problems.
You're not alone. That's the way it is all
All around the village. Okay, are there any more questions before we commence this meeting?
Total depth of
Hold on. Okay, hold on. He's got a question first. What was it?
total depth of water zone.
8 feet.
Total depth of water will drop 8 feet. Okay, that's one question. Who else? Okay,
Are you gonna be restocking the lake after this is all taken care of?
will you be restocking the lake after this is all taken care of?
Well, we're going to in April. Matter of fact, next month I'm putting in for a permit with the Game and Fish Commission. In April, we're going to shock every lake we have in the village. Lakes wasn't shocked at all last year. So we're going to shock every lake we have in the village. I've got $10,000 allotted to what I was going to try to do is, and we can check and see how our bass population is, which I know in some lakes it's better than others. But I wanted to stock some Florida hybrids next year at some of our lakes. To get some bigger bass. I know a bunch of people are trying to get some more size of bass. We're looking at some crappie. We stocked our lakes on Sophia, I believe, 2 years ago with crappie, 3 years ago, and I hadn't heard of anybody catching any crappie this year out of that lake. So we'll have a better number whenever we shop, but that will determine what lakes we stock.
Well, please put some crappie in this lake.
Wait, hold on. What'd you say?
Please put crappie in this lake.
That's where your habitat comes in handy, because crappie is one fish that's gotta have it.
I'm telling you, but that's the best fish you can
Yeah,
get.
it is.
Okay,
It
so-
is that.
Crappie's going to be coming to this lake
Oh,
then?
I don't know.
Oh, we don't know.
Okay, I see you.
Okay, go.
Shad and crappie and minnows. I mean, we're probably killed all the little ones by now.
Well, the thing about, like I said, I was wanting to stock with some Florida hybrid and some crappie. That was on the list too, that I get some money allocated for different lakes. But in order to do that, first of all, which is common sense, you gotta stock bait fish. You gotta have places for bait fish to hide. Now, hey, I'm all for about having a beautiful lake. That's one thing that we have here in the village and I wanna maintain. And I know a lot of people wanna have shoreline sprays. And this is what I try to tell a bunch of the people, you know, instead of beating around the bush, just being blunt about it. Hey, you can't have best of both worlds. You gotta have a fishing lake, or you're gonna have to have a swimming lake. I mean, you're not gonna be able to not have any kind of grass around the water's edge or anything out in the middle with any kind of habitat and have a good fishing lake. You know it. And the Game and Fish, matter of fact, had come in and told me that we need to fertilize some of our lakes to have a better fish population. But that's something we're not going to do because that will, you know, of course, increase your weeds. So we just kind of have to meet in the middle with the best of both worlds and see what we can stir up and come up with. But yeah, but to do that, in order to stock, like I said, now our crappie, I think that DeSoto and I believe maybe Cortez was put down for some crappie in 2023. That's next year. And what we'll do is we're going to try a trial run on some of our lakes, give it a 2-year cycle. And I want to, when I buy them to come in to have them stocked, I want them to be a certain length, you know, because I don't want to try to raise them from babies and then get eat out of all the bass. So I want to get 4 to 6 to 8 inch slab crappie and stock our lakes with it, so you got a big healthy system already for them to go. They're not going to be eaten by the predator fish. So the plan is we'll stock our lakes in April. We'll determine what we got. Usually your farms, they have the right size fish that you want to stock with about September. So September of 2023, if we do any stocking, when we'll do it. That way we can get the size of fish we want to put in the lake that won't be eaten by the predators.
Okay, we're running along, so one more question, Susan.
After the lake is down the whole way, will you review where the no-wake buoys are? They were moved a couple years ago, and
I heard about that.
Yeah.
now that the level is down, you can see
Yeah.
why wake is creating a problem in
I think
some areas.
Katie and I discussed that already, and I think she's going to be looking into that. while the lake's down, because we discussed that, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about the no-wake buoys out here.
Are we gonna get new buoys? Because some of them, we can't see what they say.
Yeah, yeah, we've got some new ones at the Lakes Management Office, and we can replace some, and whatever we don't have, I can buy.
I actually had Brad Meredith come out before last summer, and had him stand on my dock and look out, and I showed him how they had moved closer to the deeper end instead of out the mouth, and that's where we get all that track boats turn big turns in there. And anyway, he said to me is that he'd think about it. And so obviously he thought about it and he took a new job. So we need to go back and look at that.
And you're wanting me to retire. Maybe you need to look at yourself, Lorri. Hey, I've known Lorri a long time, so me and her go back a long time. But anyhow,
Are we all done?
everybody, hey, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, if you can help me kind of identify some of these things, because look, hey, I'm looking at it. I took over as Lake Superintendent in June. It was my birthday, June 24th this year. And so I'm with this. Hey, just be a little patient with me. We're doing the best we can. We're trying to save as much money as we can, but still get the objectives done by looking at doing things in different ways. I've got a great committee behind me. Katie's been here with Lakes Management for 7 years. She's an excellent asset. Matter of fact, Katie just got promoted to Lakes. She got promoted to Lakes Supervisor last week. So she got promoted from Senior Tech to Lake Supervisor. Katie does a great job, and she's a great asset for us to have on the lakes. And appreciate y'all coming out today to meet with me. And like I said, just pray for me in the future. I'm going to need it.
Thank you all for coming in and stop thinking. It's Friday, it's time to go home.
All right. Oh, wait, yeah, one more thing.
Hey, just one last thing before we break up. For years, we had what was known as the shoreliners. And over the years, it's kind of morphed into the Cortez area. And several people have emailed me and said, can we reestablish the shoreliners? These are people who physically live on the lake, whether you own a boat or not. And it can be a venue for us who are actually on the lake to talk about problems, get together, discuss issues, and so forth.
I'll be happy to take that information that Carol has and get the shoreliners and compare that, unless you want to do both lists.
Okay. So anyway, if you're interested, email Lorri. And I used to put out a lakes letter where I talked about all kinds of issues on the lake. I wrote about leaves in the lake. I wrote about silting. I wrote about wake issues. And I can still pull a lot of that information out and repost it for everybody.